Welcome yet again to another episode of Saul FRAZER's BizzChat, a podcast where we talk about businesses and entrepreneurs at large, looking to inspire, motivate the younger generation, but also even those who seem to be a bit older. I still want to see myself, or class myself as the younger generation. Whether we like it or not, that's where I'm going to position myself. Well, today we're going to talk about the importance of registering a business. More often than not, we start small and then grow the business to something truly amazing. But along the line, you tend to ask yourself, when is the best time to register the business? And I'm hoping that in today's episode, I'll be able to give a clue one way or the other that might help you to make a decision and see when is the best time to register your business. So stay tuned. There are many ways you can register a business successfully or start a business successfully. For me, the first thing I remember doing was coming up with a name. The name of the business should more or less describe what you do, give you that presence so that it makes sense branding wise. So I'll take you through the thinking behind the name Global Properties. When I was starting, I wanted to have a name that was synonymous with anything to do with properties. So rather than maybe using properties 360 degree or anything to do with properties, I remember getting help through a discussion, and we came to the conclusion that Global Properties was fitting because it's a real estate company that's going to be involved in anything to do with properties. So global, as in anything to do with properties, but at the same time not operating only locally and hoping to expand it beyond the borders. So it was just fitting in many ways, and we came to the conclusion that that would make sense. So once the name was established, the next thing we did was to engage a graphic designer to come up with the logo. The logo also very important. The logo should be able to represent you where you are not. People tend to go with more design and flash rather than something that is kind of related to what you do, because more often than not, you are not where your logo is, to be able to explain to the audience or the people that you're dealing with that, hey, this was the thinking behind the logo. So for me, in terms of branding, in terms of what makes sense, it is important that the logo gives an idea of what is it that your business is about. So once that is done, you got the name, the logo is intact. Another thing that you should do as well is try to register the domain name of your business. If not, then people are going to find it difficult to find you online. So getting the domain name in place is extremely important. Well, one can argue these days that in the absence of the website, there are social media pages that one can use. You can open up TikToks, Facebook, Snapchats, Instagram, and the others. But I think it's still important to have the .com or the .gm domain name as well, because you never know what else you can use it for. It could be a portal you can use to build customers or do online trading and whatnot. So very important. Get the business name, buy the domain name, get your graphic designer to do a logo for you. And the next thing would be to probably go and register the business. Or even before finalizing on the name, the logos and everything, it's important to do a search or get a lawyer to help you register the business. That is if you're going to register it as a limited liability company. If it is an enterprise, it's something that you can do on your own, because you don't need a lawyer to register your enterprise, but you're going to need a lawyer to get your memorandum and article of association for your business registration. So why should one register the business, and when should you register it? For me, when I was starting my business, I started as an enterprise. It was Saul FRAZER Trading as Global Properties. I remember registering it just a couple of days after coming up with the name and searching to make sure that it was available. I needed the registration to enable me to open a business account, bank account, to be able to sign contracts with the landlord for the office premises, and just to be able to get my logos and everything in place, because the things that came with registering a business, it gives you protection. Now, the name is out there, it's registered. You cannot get anyone else to go and register that same name again because it's already yours. It gives you that sense of ownership, of course, but then it gives you that sense of protection as well, because you know now that, hey, this is yours and you can build on it and take it to higher levels. But another thing it did was also give confidence to the clients that I was dealing with, or the stakeholders, to know that, look, this is not just something I'm doing as a hobby. It is now being transformed from just a hobby to something legally, a legal entity per se. So, and it was important to get these bank accounts. And all of a sudden you can now separate your personal bank account from your business bank account. Anything coming in will come into your business. And then at the end of the month, you pay yourself salary and you deduct expenses from this business account. If you get that discipline in the beginning of setting up your business, it will take you a long way. But if you don't, the likelihood of getting into problems or financial issues is higher. Now, the danger of operating your business with just a sole account of your personal account is, as soon as money comes in, you will treat it as your own personal money. Is it right? Well, in a way, it's your business and you can do whatever you want to do, but it is not advisable if you want to run a serious business and want to be taken seriously. It is important that from the get-go, even your initial seed capital, you should put it into your business account and then start paying off from there, either through a checkbook. Because it's going to do two things. One, it will help you control the expenses and the money that's going out. 6 months or a year down the line, when you have accounting firms coming to do an audit for you, or you're trying to do your financial statements, you can easily just go to the bank, print out your statement, and be able to follow everything that you've done. Most of the time, when it's time to audit, when it's time to put your financial statements together, you start running around looking for receipts here and there. But if everything is done through the business account, it's easy to put things together and make life easy for you and your accountant. To decide when to formally register your business really depends on you and depends on how the business is going. And my advice is always to register it at the very beginning. Like I said, it just gives you that edge over everyone else who hasn't registered. But it also gives you that sense of seriousness, so that the people that you're dealing with will take you more seriously than just operating from your personal account or running it as a hobby. And yeah, go ahead and just register straight away, set up your business accounts, and then keep going. One of the reasons why people tend to shy away from registering their businesses and doing things properly is because they're afraid of the tax element that is due to the government. But bear in mind that you are not tax liable if you're not making money in the initial stages. You can even operate your business a year or two until you start making money. Then you now start paying taxes. But taxes are not due the moment you just start operating on day one. Again, I am not a tax expert, but I would recommend that you seek advice on how to formalize these proceedings. Now, if you operate a whole year on your business and then you don't keep any financial records, in the eye of the investor or whoever is going to come and join you as a partner going forward, everything that you've done, it's more or less nullified because there are no records for it. But imagine you start taking records from day one. Then you know the history of the company, the financial records and everything are in place. Even if you decide to do your audits 2, 3 years or 4 years down the line, you can still refer back to the bank account looking at all the statements and whatnot. So it's really important to separate your personal affairs from the business that you're operating, whether it's a small business, a medium business, or a big business. No matter the size of the business, you will see a massive difference if you separate it from your personal dealings. Imagine you start operating a business and it just picks off or kicks off amazingly well, and then within a year, let's say 6 months, a year down the line, you're now thinking of expansion plans, right? And then you walk into either a bank or an investor or someone else. And the first thing they're going to ask you is the history of the business, like financial history, the business registrations, the financial statements, anything that will show evidence of the business existing other than what you're saying to them. You can talk your way through a lot of things, but in the absence of a proper structure, financial statements of what the business has sold, the income and the expenses, when it was registered, and so on and so forth. These are things that you're going to talk yourself out of. I don't know for others, but for me, if you come to me and looking to invest, those are the first things that I think about, right? What is the value of the business? You wouldn't be, well, you could obviously establish a value if you don't register the business, but it will just make more sense on paper. So the financial data, the records, the registration, and all these things are very, very important. Unless you are just happy to operate this business as a side hustle, something that when you stranded or have money, then you can put something together, sell it, and put it back again in your pocket and go enjoy yourself for the weekend and keep repeating the same thing without wanting to see growth, then probably not registering and not formalizing a business is the way to go. But if you're serious about your business, if you're serious about bringing someone else on board, and if you're serious about making your customers comfortable for them to know that they're dealing with a structured business, a legal entity, I'll strongly recommend that you register. There are people who even go to the extent of registering their business and doing everything in order before they officially launch or before they even announce that they're running a business. Again, there's no right and wrong approach or right and wrong steps to take, but always remember to protect your name. If you have a good name, to try to register it as soon as possible, because once registered at the age of chambers, no one else can register that. Buy your domain names ahead of time so that you don't go into risk of losing it to someone else. And thirdly, and most importantly, register your business, set up your accounts, and then keep going.